history is big. I mean seriously big, and prehistory is huge. Now, if I was working in your school, one of the very last things I would do with my workshop is I would get my 2-metre spear and I would show you how big history is. But as you can see, fitting my 2-metre spear onto this screen isn't particularly easy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the spear down, and by magic I'm going to put a spear behind me. The spear is 2 metres long. Now let's imagine that that 2-metre long spear is actually 12,000 years long. So it goes from the present day at the tip of the spear to 10,000 years BC, before Christ. 12,000 years long. And we can place different things along the length of the spear to show you how big history is. Now it's quite possible that you know a little bit about the Great Fire of London. On my spear, the Great Fire of London would appear just where the flint joins the wood, right near the tip of the spear. So on that time scale, on that timeline, the Great Fire of London isn't really that long ago, is it? Although we know that it happened in the year 1666. Let's go a little bit further back. We said in an earlier video clip that we talk about BC and AD, and we say that, or BCE and CE, and they're all different ways of measuring time, but they all begin in the same spot. So AD and CE are the same, and BC and BCE are the same, and they change over around the time when Jesus was born. So if we look at where Jesus was born on the spear, just over 2,000 years ago, we can see again, on my timeline, it isn't that far ago. Now Jesus was born around about the time that the Romans began to conquer Britain, and so we say that Jesus was born in historical times because the Romans were writing about what they did. But Jesus was actually born in the Iron Age as well. And if we look at when the Iron Age began, we can see that it wasn't really that far before Jesus, was it? Not on my spear. So that was when the Iron Age began in Europe. Before the Iron Age, we had, of course, the Bronze Age, when people mixed copper and tin together to make bronze. That was one of the very first metals that people knew how to make. They started by making copper in the Copper Age, and then they changed. They realised you could actually mix it with tin and make a stronger metal. So we call all of it the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age can also be seen on my spear. But you can also see that most of these things are up one end of the spear. So let's take a look at the other end. Now if you look at the other end here, we can put a marker in for the Stone Age. But that marker isn't for the beginning of the Stone Age. That marker is showing the end of the Old Stone Age. And if you like, we can also pop in the beginning of the Middle Stone Age. Remember, that was the time when our country became an island. And then if we want to do the bit where farming arrived in the New Stone Age, we can add that as well. But the marker nearest to the end of the spear isn't the start of the Old Stone Age, not by a long way. If I wanted to show you the start of the Old Stone Age on my spear, it wouldn't have to be 2 metres long, it would have to be over 430 metres long. That is how far I would have to go, that's how long that spear would have to be for me to show you the start of the Old Stone Age. And if I wanted to show you when the last dinosaur died, do you know how long my spear would have to be? it would have to be 6.5 miles long. That's a very long distance. That's a huge gap between the last dinosaur and the beginning of the Stone Age, when people started making tools out of stone about 3.5 million years ago. Remember, the dinosaurs died 65 million years ago. So if you see any cartoons or any pictures or any films showing Stone Age people running around chasing dinosaurs, they are wrong. The dinosaurs died a long time before the Stone Age began. The dinosaurs were fossils by the time the Stone Age started. And if I nip out to just get something else, there's my archaeologist's stripy pole, which is also exactly 2 metres long. And if my stripy pole showed you the whole of history and prehistory, from the very beginning of the Stone Age down this end to the modern day here, do you know how much of this stripy pole would be the old Stone Age? Most of it. Only the last centimetre, about the width of my finger, on that very end, just there, is everything since the old Stone Age. That's the Middle Stone Age, the New Stone Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, Jesus, Fire of London, present day, would fit into the final centimetre of this stripy pole, and everything else, all the way down to this end, would be the Old Stone Age. The Old Stone Age was huge, and that is why we need to know about it. Thank you for your attention, and good luck with finding out more about the Stone Age.